Well, as you probably know by now, today's scheduled hearing from the January 6th committee has been delayed, but they will be back tomorrow afternoon. The committee is expected to focus on how former President Donald Trump tried to pressure Mike Pence to refuse to certify the election results. ABC News Chief Washington correspondent John Karl joining me now. John, let's go ahead and start there. What will you be watching for tomorrow in particular?
Well, I think this is one of the most important hearings scheduled for the January 6th committee because the pressure campaign on Mike Pence is really central to the story of what happened on January 6th. Of course, Donald Trump was trying to get his vice president to single-handedly overturn the election results at the final step in the process for certifying a winner, the counting of the electoral votes on January 6th. It was Pence who was in the chair as the presiding officer, a ceremonial role, and Trump, of course, was telling him that when it came time to to certify these states' vote, that he should throw out several of the votes from states or send them back to those states that went to Joe Biden. So you're going to hear for the first time, Kira, a testimony from people who are extremely close to Mike Pence. Pence himself is not testifying, but he gave the green light to some of his top advisors to talk to the committee. You'll be hearing that both in the recorded testimony and live testimony from the vice presidential's chief counsel, a guy named Greg Jacob. Most people have probably never heard of him or seen him, but you'll see him live. He was the top lawyer for Vice President Pence in the White House, and he was right there as Trump and that outside group of attorneys was putting this pressure on Pence. So I think it could be potentially quite dramatic.
Why do you think Pence isn't testifying? I mean, he definitely did not back down. He didn't give in to the president when Trump wanted him to do that just the ultimate move on the certification, and Pence didn't do it. So why not come forward and testify?
It's a good question from a political standpoint. You could see how it would be incredibly risky. Either it would be this moment where the country, where Republicans could see the story, the way his life was threatened, the way he stood fast, he did his constitutional duty. But on the other hand, this would bring into stark relief when he, his greatest defiance of Donald Trump. But I think it's more than just the politics here, Kira. We talk about executive privilege a lot. Executive privilege, the idea that presidents have a right to get confidential advice. The legal experts that I've spoken to on this say that if anybody has a claim on executive privilege, a legitimate principled claim, it would have been the Vice President of the United States. There is a principle there. But as I said, even though he himself is not speaking, he told all of his top advisors, unlike Trump, who wanted people to defy the committee, Pence said, tell the story, hold nothing back, tell the truth. And that's what they did.
So the committee released this surveillance video showing Georgia Republican Congressman Barry Loudermilk leading a tour around the Capitol complex on January 5th. The video also shows people taking pictures of tunnels and stairways, all used by lawmakers, which is a little strange, kind of creepy to say the least. In response to Loudermilk accused the committee of orchestrating a smear campaign. What do you make of all this?
Well, honestly, I'm not sure. Look, there's no law against taking pictures of a stairwell or taking pictures that he was taking. We don't know what was going through that guy's head. We don't know what was happening, but we do know a few facts about this, Kira. We know that the Capitol Police have said that they looked at all of that surveillance footage and they found none of it suspicious. We do know that that gentleman who took those pictures did appear at the protest outside the Capitol. He did say some incendiary things, including about Nancy Pelosi, but he was never charged with a crime, and there's no evidence that he ever actually went into the building. And furthermore, those pictures were taken in the House office buildings. They weren't taken in the Capitol. And there's no evidence that in that so-called tour that was going on that those people ever came into the Capitol on January 5th. So it looks weird. I don't know what it really tells us, though, to be honest.
Right. Okay. Well, January 6th and the big lie, looming large in last night's primaries, of course. South Carolina Republican Tom Rice lost his primary after he broke from his party last year when he voted to impeach Donald Trump after the insurrection. You remember all that. He actually spoke with Rice last week about, or you actually spoke with Rice last week, rather, about that. We did a segment. You were here on set. You were surprised. You told me you had actually been working this interview for months and months at the time. Why do you think that he decided to talk to you at this point, and what does this say just about the GOP party right now?
Well, first, the context is really important. If Tom Rice had not voted to impeach, his nomination would have been a cakewalk. He's a 5-term member of Congress. He's never faced a significant race except when he first got elected. So he lost for one reason and one reason only, and that's because he voted to impeach Donald Trump. So this is, you know, profiles in courage. We use that phrase a lot. It comes from a book that John Kennedy wrote, of course, Profiles in Courage, where he gave little vignettes of various political figures who showed courage at key moments. One of the chapters is devoted to a Republican who voted against impeaching Andrew Johnson back in the 1860s. I think that, and that Republican went on to lose. Republicans, of course, wanted Johnson out. He was the Democratic president. If there's a sequel to Profiles in Courage published, Tom Rice would be a chapter, because he voted what he believed, he voted his conscience, he voted what he believed was the right vote, the conservative vote, the constitutional vote, and he did it knowing it could cost him, and we saw yesterday it did cost him. He lost, and he lost decisively to a candidate that was supported by Donald Trump, enthusiastically supported by Donald Trump.
All right, lot to watch indeed for tomorrow. Chief Washington correspondent John Karl. Thanks, John.
Thank you, Kira.
Hi, everyone. George Stephanopoulos here. Thanks for checking out the ABC News YouTube channel. If you'd like to get more videos, show highlights, and watch live event coverage, click on the right over here to subscribe to our channel. And don't forget to download the ABC News app for breaking news alerts. Thanks for watching.